meaningful, and what the teacher is going to teach me will be good or correct, which will help me become successful. Now, so we start with that little faith, but then we see if the teacher, what they are teaching and what I know and what I can learn from the world, and through my own experience as I'm learning the concepts, if I'm trying to solve a problem and I'm able to apply those principles, then I say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. 2 plus 2, 4. Yeah, I can see that. All right. So similarly, this spirituality is also like a science. Okay, so we start with little faith, but then it's a science because that scientific understanding of spirituality that gives us the drive or the real faith to see that, oh, this, yeah, this is the right thing. I really want to learn this. I really want to practice it, because when I practice it, I see what it's telling me, right? I can see that it's a real apple, it's not oranges, right? So the way these sessions have been constructed is goes into the scientific facts and logical reasoning both. Okay, so we started with the first session, harmonizing body, mind, and spirit through meditation. That, and there we talked about how the meditation helps, and we talked about the mantra meditation. We also, in during our discussion, we talked about how the sound meditation heals us from inside and from outside, right? So we did talk about the sound meditation and the pursuit of happiness. We question that if we look between human and animals, there are commonality, right? We sleep, we eat, we mate, and we defend. Animals also do the same thing. And if we are doing the same thing, but at a higher level, I sleep on bed while the animals sleep on the road, and um, they can eat anything they like, and we eat like in the wonderful cuisine in the hotel or in our house. They mate, and they can mate with so many partner. Humans also like to mate, and they have the restricted partner, and then they defend, and humans also defend, right? Through all the things what we have, and then insurance and everything, right? So if we are doing the same thing, is there a difference? So then we inquired about that, and then we see that no, the humans are looking for higher level of purpose in their life. They're looking for happiness, the real bliss. What is there, right? So that propensity to inquire, right? Why I am here? What is the purpose? I seek happiness. I know that I want happiness. Am I seeking the happiness at the right place? So that inquiry, that's what we discussed in that's the topic we discussed last week, that we should inquire. Today that inquiry begins. The first part of the inquiry is, are we just a body, or are we more than that? We talk about consciousness. What is that consciousness? How do I understand that? Okay, so that's the topic for today. Are we good? Are we ready to go ahead and watch the video? All right. So it's a 15-minute video. Jason, while you're driving, focus on the road, my dear friend. You can hear the sound. Um, I don't want you
Will
to
do.
get into. Okay. All right. So
Deepak, have you started the video? We're not seeing
Oh,
it. If
oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, hold
we're
on.
doing a really good meditation with you as our visual, though.
Oh, wow. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't share and the
Exactly.
video is running here and I'm watching the video by all by myself. Thank you for
I can
letting me
see your
know.
eyes tracking. I'm like, yeah, there's
Okay,
something.
just hold on. Just thank you that we have only wasted 2 minutes. Otherwise, we would have wasted like longer. That's funny. Okay, so now just hold on. I'm making sure that I'm sharing with the sound. Okay, sound included. And you can see the video now, right? Thank you so much for letting me know.
Consciousness, the missing link. Who am I? Am I this body, or the mind? Or am I something higher? Am I an American, Australian, Indian, or African? Does it really matter?
I've got video but no sound.
When asked, who are you, most people will reply with their name. If your name is changed, will you change? If not, then who are you? Others may reply by showing their photograph. However, the facial features keep changing throughout our lives, and in an extreme case, if the face is changed with plastic surgery, will you change? The purpose of life is to find happiness. In order for me to be happy, it is imperative that I seek the answer to the question, who am I? All spiritual culture and traditions of the world have encouraged this inquiry and to search for an answer within. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the most ancient books of spiritual wisdom from the East, explains that we are not this body, but the Atma, spiritual consciousness. The Atma is the spark of life force that activates the body. The body can be compared to a car and the consciousness to the driver of the car. Without a driver, the car cannot move by itself. Similarly, the body cannot function without the presence of the consciousness. Someone may ask, has anyone seen the consciousness? According to the Gita, a consciousness is indestructible, individual, and changes bodies. It has a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The consciousness is situated in the region of the heart, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles, which carry the oxygen from the lungs, gather energy from the consciousness. When the consciousness passes away from this position, activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. The Upanishads say that the size of the consciousness is estimated to be 1/10,000th the tip of the hair. Hence, it is infinitesimally small and thus inconceivable. Some differences between matter and spirit are: matter is formless, while spirit gives form to matter. Matter is dead, while spirit is consciousness. Matter is perishable, while spirit is imperishable. Matter undergoes transformations, while the spirit does not undergo any transformations. Existence of consciousness. Due to its spiritual nature, the consciousness cannot be seen by limited range of vision provided by our eyes, made up of matter. However, the existence of consciousness can be perceived in many ways. Common sense. We get an indication that the self is different from the body when we attend a funeral. We may see a crying widow grieving. He's gone. My husband is gone. She says that her husband is gone, yet the body is lying there, looking much the same as it did a few days before. Who is gone at death? It is the real person, the self who is different from the body it animates, that goes away. Intuitive understanding. By thoughtful self-observation, we can become aware of the existence of the self beyond the body. For example, we don't think of our foot or our head or any part of our body as me, but as my foot, my head, my body. Then who am I? Who is that self, myself, beyond the body and beyond even the mind? That is the consciousness. Consciousness. Subtle objects can be perceived by their symptoms. For example, one cannot see air, but it can be perceived through its symptom of blowing wind. One cannot see intelligence, but it can be perceived by giving an IQ test. Similarly, the symptom of the existence of spirit is that we are conscious. consciousness from the spirit pervades throughout the body, and the body appears alive. Just like the sun spreads heat and light all around, the spirit spreads consciousness all around the body, from the tip of the toes and fingers to the top of the head. It is this consciousness that enables us to think, feel, move, and so on. Thus, consciousness is the symptom of the spirit. Consciousness is what distinguishes a dead body from a living one. When an iPod plays music, it feels no emotions. However, a singer undergoes several emotions while singing. This is consciousness. The ability to be aware of one's existence, to think, to feel, and to will. As Thomas Huxley said, there is a third thing in the universe, to wit, consciousness, which I cannot see to be matter of force. Consciousness gives the proof of the spirit. Changing body. We had a body which was 3 years old. If we show someone our photograph when we were 3 years old, they will most likely not be able to recognize us from then. Our body has changed since then. Our mind has changed since then. Our intelligence has changed since then. However, the person within, the experiencer, remains unchanged. This indicates that we, the experiencer, are different from our body, mind, or intellect. The Gita explains, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to young to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. NDEs, as the name suggests, involve people who have a close call with death. Many people having NDEs also have out-of-body experiences, in which they report observing their physical body and events relating to it from a perspective outside the body during severe illness or physical trauma resulting in unconsciousness. A typical case might involve a person who is resuscitated from a heart attack and reports that he observed from a point outside his body the medical personnel endeavoring to revive him. At such times, according to standard medical opinion, the normal functioning of the brain, as indicated by certain brain waves, is impaired, and the patient should be unconscious, if indeed consciousness is a manifestation of the brain. The book Into the Unknown, published by the Reader's Digest, even gives evidences of people who have had OBEs or out-of-body experiences. Such people who could perform OBE were made to lie on a bed closing their eyes, go out of the body, observe the different types of objects like triangular prism, rectangular, circular plates kept on a loft, again return into the body, and draw the objects that they saw on the loft on a sheet of paper. Such drawings perfectly matched with the objects kept high up on the loft that no one could observe from the ground level. This is called OBE, or out-of-body experience. There is enough research work in NDE and OBE presented by individuals with impeccable scientific credentials. For example, Dr. Michael B. Sabam, a cardiologist and professor at the Emory University Medical School, was openly skeptical of NDEs, but changed his mind after investigating them. Past life memories. Rigorous, unbiased studies have been carried out by serious researchers on past life memories. Ian Stevenson, Carlson Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Virginia, has extensively investigated spontaneous reincarnation memories recounted by children. In such cases, he has been able to positively corroborate what the child has claimed by thoroughly investigating details of the place and people they describe, including the dead person they claim to have been. Stevenson has assembled numerous accounts of over 3,000 cases of reincarnation and verified them, always taking great care to screen out fabrications. His studies give convincing evidence that the conscious self can travel from one physical body to the next. Clearly, when one body dies, the contents of its brain are destroyed, and there is no physical process by which they can influence the contents of another brain. The logical interpretation is that the conscious self must be an entity distinct from the brain. Incarnation. The past life memories of an ex-pilot, James Leninger. Could a little boy be proof of reincarnation? ABC News, June 30th, 2005. Nearly 6 decades ago, a 21-year-old Navy fighter pilot on a mission over the Pacific was shot down by Japanese artillery. His name might have been forgotten were it not for a 6-year-old James Lininger. Quite a few people, including those who knew the fighter pilot, think James is the pilot reincarnated. James's parents, Andrea and Bruce, a highly educated modern couple, say they are probably the people least likely to have a scenario like this pop up in their lives. But over time, they have become convinced that their little son has had a former life. From an early age, James would play with nothing else but planes, his parents say. But when he was 2, they said the planes their son loved began to give him regular nightmares. "I'd wake him up and he'd be screaming," Andrea told ABC News' Chris Cuomo. She said that she asked her son what he was dreaming about, and he would say, "Airplane crash on fire. Little man can't get out. Reality check." Andrea says her mom was the first to suggest James was remembering a past life. At first, Andrea says she was doubtful. James was only watching kids shows, his parents say, and they weren't watching World War II documentaries or conversing about military history. But as time went by, Andrea began to wonder what to believe. In one video of James at age 3, he goes over a plane as if he's doing a pre-flight check. Another time, Andrea said she bought him a toy plane and pointed out what appeared to be a bomb on its underside. She says James corrected her and told her it was a drop tank. "I'd never heard of a drop tank," she said. "I didn't know what a drop tank was." Then James' violent nightmares got worse. Occurring 3 or 4 times a week, Andrea's mother suggested she look into the work of counselor and therapist Carol Bowman, who believes that the dead sometimes can be reborn. With guidance from Bowman, they began to encourage James to share his memories, and immediately, Andrea says, the nightmares started to become less frequent. James was also becoming more articulate about his apparent past, she said. Bowman said James was at the age when former lives were most easily recalled. They haven't had the cultural conditioning, the layering over of the experience in his life so the memories can percolate up more easily, she said. Trail of Mysteries. Over time, James's parents says he revealed extraordinary details about the life of a former fighter pilot, mostly at bedtime when he was drowsy. They say James told him his plane had been hit by the Japanese and crashed. Andrea says James told his father he flew a Corsair and then told her they used to get flat tires all the time. In fact, historians and pilots agree that the plane's tires took a lot of punishment on landing, but that's a fact that could easily be found in books or on television. Andrea says James also told his father the name of the boat he took off from, Natoma, and the name of someone he flew with, Jack Larson. After some research, Bruce discovered both the Natoma and Jack Larson were real. The Natoma Bay was a small aircraft carrier in the Pacific, and Larson is living in Arkansas. It was like, holy mackerel, Bruce said. You could have poured my brains out of my ears. I just couldn't believe it. James 2 equals James M. Huston, Jr. Bruce became obsessed, searching the internet, combing through military records and interviewing men who served aboard the Natoma Bay. He said James told him that he had been shot down at Iwo Jima. James had also begun signing his crayon drawings James 3. Bruce soon learned that the only pilot from the squadron killed at Iwo Jima was James M. Hudson, Jr. Bruce says James also told him his plane had sustained a direct hit on the engine. Ralph Klaber, a rear gunner on a U.S. airplane that flew off the Natoma Bay, says his plane was right next to one flown by James M. Huston, Jr. during a raid near Iwo Jima on March 3, 1945. Klaber said he saw Huston's plane struck by anti-aircraft fire. I would say he was hit head-on, right in the middle of the engine, he said. Treasured mementos. Bruce says he now believes his son had a past life in which he was James M. Huston, Jr. He came back because he wasn't finished with something. The Liningers wrote a letter to Huston's sister, Ann Barron, about their little boy, and now she believes it as well. The child was so convincing in coming up with all the things that there is no way in the world he could know, she said. But Professor Paul Kurtz of the State University of New York at Buffalo, who heads an organization that investigates claims of the paranormal, says he thinks the parents are self-deceived. They're fascinated by the mysterious and they built up a fairy tale, he said. James's vivid, alleged recollections are starting to fade as he gets older. But among his prized possessions remains two haunting presents sent to him by Barron: a bust of George Washington and a model of a Corsair aircraft. They were among the personal effects of James Huston sent home after the war. He appears to have experienced something that I don't think is unique, but the way it's been revealed is quite astounding, Bruce said. Asked if the idea that James may have been someone else changes his or his wife's feelings about their son, Bruce said, "It doesn't change how we think. I don't look at him and say, 'That's not my boy.' That's my boy."
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you all think? It's a little surreal. All right. Yeah, after watching, I've seen it so many times. Every time I watch, I become quiet for some time. So here, let's start with the quick icebreaker question for today. So for the folks who are joining here for the first time, the way it works, we had the preamble and we saw the topic and then we learned about the topic, right? After that, we just have a quick icebreaker. So to open it up, and then we will be going over some questions for discussion. So remainder part of the session today is all discussions. Okay. So to get us started, the icebreaker question for today is: tell us about your name. What is its meaning? How do you feel about it? So we can go in any order.
I can start us off.
Go ahead.
My name's Apurv. It means unique. I I've always been fascinated by the meaning of my name. I think it's something that, yeah, it's really interesting. It makes me feel good when someone asks and I tell that to someone. So.
Again, what was the meaning of your name?
Unique.
Unique. Unique. Definitely. Uniqueness. We all are unique in a way, the gifts we have been given. Thank you, Apurv. Who else?
I can talk on that. My name's Jason, and I've always liked my name. When I was a little kid, I thought of Jason and the Argonauts. Then as I learned more about the Bible, there's a high priest named Jason. And then when I started learning Sanskrit and mantras, I like the idea of Jai Sun, Jai Surya, like yay sun, because I love the sun. And I volunteer a lot in this orphanage in Bali. And it's hard for these little kids to learn Western names. So I'll make up little dances to help me remember their names, which are complicated for me, like Ankara and Pitu, and for them to remember Jason. And I'd always say J, 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 sun, and point at the sun. And sometimes I'd say J Surya. Anyway, one time I was in and so my friends that go to Bali with me, because I lead retreats there, started calling me J, 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 sun. And one time I was with my mom, and it was with that group of friends. And so when we went around the circle before this kirtan, I said, my name's J, 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 sun, and pointed up at the sun. And my mom got this big look on her face. And I was like, remember to ask mom on the way home what that look was about. So on the drive home, I said, hey, mom, when I said my name was J, 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 sun, you gave me a funny look. And she's like, well, I don't know that we ever told you that that's really your name. And I'm like, what? I always thought I'd be Jason. And she said, well, when you were born, I was ready to leave the hospital. I'd been in the hospital for a long time. And what was delaying us is your dad couldn't decide on your name to fill on the birth certificate. He kept going between Jason and David. And she said, fine. I said, Ronald, to your dad, Ronald, just pick a name. You can change it later if you want to. And he said, Jason, as he decided. So I guess from birth, I have been, although I didn't know it until a few years ago, I am Jason.
Now we also know that who you are, Jason,
That's me.
Jason, and you are a wonderful storyteller also. That also I know.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, who else?
I'll hop in there. So my mom's name is Jolene, just like the song. And my dad wrote an AN on the front of it, but I'm supposed to be Angelina, named after my great auntie Angelina. And so they should have put a little uptick or spelt it in the way that is phonetic, right? But they didn't. So I often tell people I'm Angelina, like Angelina Jolie, only better. No.
Definitely.
So there's some association. But yeah, it's pronounced Angelina. And if I remember from the 90s plaque that I had, that was those 90s colors of, bright blue and sunset pink mixed together, my name described. It was a source of strength, an angel sent from heaven for strength as a foundation of the family, something along those lines. And yeah, getting that description, as a young child in the 90s, I don't know what I felt about it then, but I do know now that certainly I am sort of a rock of the family. I'm somebody that everyone comes to and relies upon, and certainly feel like my namesake is exactly who I'm supposed to be. And it's an honor to be named after my great auntie, who was Croatian, and everything about Croatian. If you know anything about it, the one thing you'll need to know is that we love you already. And if we didn't feed you, then we haven't really done our job. And that's how we show love. So that is all that is me. And I love it. It's unique. And I always have to explain that it's Angelina, not Angeline, or any other number of things. But I let people call me what works for them. I know my
Thank you. So wonderful. Thank you. I think it's a great question. It's allowing me to learn about your name. All right. Anyone else?
I will go. I am Priya. And Priya in India, every other person is named Priya. And Priya means beloved. But when I came to the United States when I was 5, I am 57 years old, no one had my name. And I hated it because all the kids used to tease me. But then as I grew older, I really appreciated the uniqueness of my name. And now I'm annoyed because now there are so many Priyas here. So I used to just use my first name. I never used my last name. And now I'm being forced to also use my last name.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you. All right.
I can go next. My name is Ajat. It means something that is eternal or timeless. So by watching today's video, it also looks like it's very close to what you mean by consciousness, which is also eternal. And it's also a very unique name. I haven't seen this name being used a lot. It's also very hard to pronounce for folks here, like in the USA. But anytime, because it's the way it's pronounced is Ajat, and for like English native speakers, it's very hard to say it. So the way I help them out is I kind of point in the sky and see if there's a plane and say, look at that, that's a jet. So if you just say a jet, that's very close to my name. That works for me. Yeah, I also like my name since it's like so unique.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it
folks.
okay to ask questions?
On the name or for the question? We will be going over the questions actually now. So,
I just wondered, does jet mean timelessness or timely, and ajat means timeless? Is that how it works?
So I didn't get the first part of your question.
Oh, is your name like a compound name? Just like Jet mean
No, no,
timely and Ajat means timeless, or just Ajat
no.
means
It's,
timelessness?
yeah, just the Ajat means timeless.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So we'll be starting with the question for today. Okay. So the first question is, and I put in the chat also, what is the soul? How can we perceive the existence of the soul?
The video said consciousness, but what does that mean? It's the awake state, the sense of being, the feeling behind that physical body, the thing that makes us who we are and makes us alive. So it's our essence or our being, our energy, if you will.
Very good. Very good. Okay. And the second part of the question, anybody would like, or maybe anybody who would like to take, how can we perceive the existence of the soul? The video went over some of the different proofs, scientific as well as the logical proof, and even the um, empirical proofs. So thoughts?
With going with the life piece of it, it explains how your body changes, but you do not. So that's how you perceive. You don't change when your body does.
That's very true, right? I was a baby Deepak. Sometimes I look very different. Now I'm a middle-aged Deepak. I look very different, and in the future I will be old Deepak, and I look very different, right? But I'm the same person, right? So thank you, Bree. What else? Do you remember some other proofs which were discussed in the video, or if you have your own something?
I'll go next. The biggest proof I think I've seen of the existence of a soul was sort of the absence of it. My mom died in my arms, and she chose to die. And when I asked her how she wanted to die, she said she hoped to get out of her body before it died and turn around and watch her body die. She wanted to witness her own death.
Hmm.
I was like, "Whoa, mom, that's that might be hard, but we'll try." And I really felt like she managed that, and I got to witness it. I saw the moment her soul left the body, and then it was like we were together, me and her, watching her body slowly die. And so, sort of in that moment of separation where it felt like I could really feel her separate from her body, so far in my life has been the strongest evidence that we might have souls as well as bodies.
That's amazing. And how did you notice that the soul came out of your mom's body? What did you notice?
She was really weak and very unconscious for like maybe 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, she like perked up and took a big inhale and a big exhale. And before that, she'd just been kind of rumbling that.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it felt like she pulled herself together, took a big exhale, a big inhale, exhale, big inhale, exhale, and then a big inhale. And it just felt like an explosion, just like atomic bomb. And I felt her very strong presence after what had been a really weak presence, like somebody just barely hanging on and dying.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just felt like my mom was back. She was very there. And then just very slowly, that last exhale came super, super slow. And so her body was still alive. She was still kind of breathing and moaning and swallowing, but it felt like she was gone. She was not in that body. She was over being a witness with me. Now, maybe I made the whole thing up, or she did such a strong suggestion that this is what I want. I would like to leave my body. But she didn't feel that way. It felt like she got her wish, and I was blessed to be able to be witness to that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jason. Okay, what are some of the other proofs which was the video discussed, or any of your own experience?
I don't have the personal experience, but I appreciated the video explaining how when you do, or the perception of death, they don't actually even refer to the body as you anymore. They say that you're gone. And so if they say, oh, I found the body, then where did you go? So that's what I took from that.
Yeah. And that's in all tradition, actually, in all culture. If somebody died, they say that they are gone. They say that, right? Um, they're gone. Who is gone? The body is here, right? So yeah, that's a very important logical conclusion also. There was some scientific conclusion also which were discussed. Anybody recall?
Not having much recall today, but my own perception is the light in someone's eyes, right, that exists. And when that light leaves the body, and the body is no longer alive, you see the difference, right? Their eyes are still open, but they are no longer inhabiting that
Yeah.
physical body.
Yeah.
And during the video, it reminded me of a time I was going in for sinus surgery in 2015, and I was given the medication to sort of go, to calm me so that I could go under. And I think in that state, you're in a heightened level of consciousness before you, really go into the sleep. So I was experiencing everything that was happening just very calmly and very deeply. So we're wheeling into the surgery room. And at that point, I can see the surgeon, the team. I'm still very much awake. And I saw my dad and my grandfather, and they were dancing, and they were laughing. And my both of them during life had played the harmonica. So they were playing the harmonica and they were dancing, and they stopped and looked to me to just say, "Oh, hey, like, you're going to be okay here. We're here. We're here. We're watching over. We're going to be okay." And they just went back to dancing and went back to playing music. And shortly after, I succumbed to the sleep and had my surgery. And I woke with this very real, vivid memory of seeing them before I had gone to sleep for the surgery. And it was the strongest visual presence of souls that I have ever experienced that were no longer in their physical body. They'd been dead for a decade and 2 years, the two of them, respectively. And prior to that, I had felt presence of many different spirits before, but I had never seen them visually. So that was my first real experience to go, okay, there they are. There they are. I can see them clearly.
Thank you, Angelina. Thank you very much. And now I can pronounce your name correctly because I used to struggle, Angelini. So now I know Angelina. All right. So two of the scientific proof which the video talked about was the near-death experience, NDE, and that the way they proved it with the out-of-body experience. They use the word OBO, out-of-body, OBE, out-of-body experience. And there is a scientific community who have validated those, right? That how, and they gave the proof, and there are multiple proof. I have been studying this subject and teaching this subject for a while, and I myself has gone, before you teach, right, you just want to make sure that these are all authentic, right? So I have done my own research, and these are all very true. This is the stream of science where they see the outer body experience of the people who are in the hospital. There has been the people where a lady sued the doctors because her outer body experience. She saw that the doctor was flirting with the nurse, and she had that cardiac arrest while during the surgery. And there was another instance which I read, which was not in the video, that how somebody saw um, only one pair of shoes, red shoe, on the roof of the hospital. Nobody could have ever accessed it, and that person knew about it and they verified it. So they shared something similar in the video also. So that's one proof, right? This is the comes into the purview of the modern science. And then the second was past life memories, right? Again, the past life memory, they discussed about Dr. Ian Johnson, no, Ian something, um, Stevenson, Jan Stevenson's, right? And he has done more than 3,000 verification. A very renowned psychologist, and me growing up in India, I have seen several times in the newspaper these things come up and people talk and that hey they are experiencing and having a studying all the philosophy, Eastern philosophy, there is a direct uh, mention that how the soul passes from one body to the other body, and and the body just like a dress is outer wear, and the soul is the one thing which is eternal, it passing from one body to the other body, right? So these are all the proof of the soul. Okay. And and as you see, Jason shared his personal experience, Angelina shared her personal experience. We all have our own personal experience, so we have to just become little more aware. We can perceive the presence of soul in our life. We can it's very easy, means you, even like when you are in like have a relationship like some intimate relationship, or with your mother, father, brother, sister, there will be instances where you know that we are more than the body, the way we interact with each other, how we feel about, we see somebody, we feel some connection, right? So there are a lot of things just by being aware we can see about it. Okay.
I have one question on this, Deepak, on the past life experiences. Since we say that our memories are stored in our brain, right, and when the soul traverses from one body to another, so what? How do the memories travel with the soul?
Very good question. This topic was not covered. It will come in the, I think, in the fifth topic, but let me try to answer you right now. Um, so what it says, when the body travels from one body to other body, there is a other body called subtle body.
Mhm.
Subtle body, okay? And the subtle body has three component, and one of that component is mind. So mind, intelligence, and false ego, these three things also travels with the body. So that's how the memory of the past travels. And there are people who what they do, past life regression. Have you heard this word, past life regression? You can
Yeah.
do the internet search on it.
Yeah.
There are doctors trained by the modern science, they can regress you and they can take you to the past life,
Mhm.
okay, by hypnotizing you. And through that also, like, so they can say who you were, what has happened to you. So these memories are there, but because it is just as we are living our life, we get a new covering and then we forget those things are behind, like deep within our mind. So that's how it travels. To answer your question, yes, so subtle body that carries the mind, and that's how the past life
Got it.
appears in the people. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. So the second question. Oh, Apurv, you have a question? Yes, Apurv.
My question's very off topic. I'll save it for the end. But
Okay,
I'll
thank you. Okay, thank you. Well. Okay. What are the qualities of the soul? What are the qualities of the soul?
One of the things that I remember from the video was that it's eternal, indestructible, and like lives on forever.
Very good. Very good. Yes. What else?
It's what forms matter. So the
If
soul is what causes the form to the matters, because the matter is formless. So the soul creates that form.
okay, so Bree is talking about the more advanced topic, right? So that soul gives the matter the shape, right? It gives the matter the shape. Thank you, Bree. There are some other things which you might have heard. The soul is immutable, is indestructible, invisible, like this very small. Does anybody remember the size of the soul? As per the Upanishad, that's the one of the book. It mentioned the size of the soul.
Yeah, was it 1,000th or one? Yeah, of the tip of a hair. I thought that was
Very, very close. 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. And I, the first time I learned about it, I went on internet, my like engineering brain, okay, let me see if this is really correct or not. What is the tip of the size of the hair? Okay, and then I divided by 10,000, and then that's so many nanometer. Okay, and then I looked, what is the our best microscope can see it, and sorry, our microscope cannot see it.
I remember listening to this, and when it was described to me, it says you take a tip of hair and you split that.
You're breaking up for me, Bree. Is she breaking for you also? Bree, I think your internet is a
Is my
little flaky. I think, okay. So she'll come back. Uh,
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
yeah, try. Yeah, now it seems better, Bree. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, when I first heard about the size of the soul, which was like you take a tip of hair, you take a hair and you split into 100 pieces, and then you take that 100 piece and you split that again into 100 pieces, blew my mind.
Yes, yes, indeed.
so. How is it
To
that we experience it so deeply when you can't see it, right? That's the lifetime or the eternal challenge, right? Is to see someone for their soul. And
Right,
how do you do that, right? Through what? I mean, it's what we're all here for, right? Through
right.
connection, through focusing
Yeah,
on service, through focusing on others, and looking from outside of ourselves, and
right,
finding
right,
connection through many ways. Yeah.
right,
And then
right.
it's way bigger than what we describe it as, in this, put it in a box and make it a statistical way. It's something way more infinite than that,
Yeah.
You hit on a good
immeasurable.
point, because you said it was not perceivable through your senses, which is huge. So how do you perceive, you know?
for me, from a more modern understanding of physics, it seems to me like a soul wouldn't even have size. That, we have matter and we have energy, and I would think a soul would be more on the energetic side of the equation, and on that side you have frequency, you have vibration, not really matter. Like a particle of light doesn't have size, it has frequency, or a radio wave doesn't have size, it has its characteristics of vibration. So for me, it doesn't feel right that my soul is this little teeny thing that's somewhere inside me. To me, it seems like my soul is this giant thing that somehow is tethered or likes to be around this body. But to me, it feels like my soul's bigger than my body, or just that it doesn't fit. Size isn't the right way to even think about my soul. It's more like vibration or energy, not size. And I kind of
Right.
relate that to what that experience with my mom's death. It didn't feel like this little teeny bit particle came out. It felt like this atomic bomb came out, something much bigger than what would fit
Yeah.
inside her body.
Right.
I don't mean to
That's
be contrarian, but that's just
no,
how it
no, no, no.
lands
It is
on me.
no. This is good. This is really good. And you see, right now, for the discussion's sake, it doesn't even matter what you
Mhm.
think the soul is. But I'm telling, because see, um, right now, because I cannot see the soul, I can see
Mhm.
that, oh, it is like this, it is like that. But then we are going into the what the book says, right? And then
Mhm.
and there will be another follow-up question actually, and that will give us a little bit more. But what it says, the book Bhagavad Gita says, soul is inconceivable. It is
Mhm.
that kind of thing which is inconceivable for the humans. And when it says 10,000 part, what we can understand, right? Oh, it's very, 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 very small, right? And of course, and when we go to the other topics, then we'll see that, okay, how else we can see it. But right now, I would say that, yes, if you think that, oh, it's very hard for me to think that it can be so minute, that's totally fine. You think that it's energy? Yes, definitely. Soul permeates energy, right? Soul is just not the energy, because when it is within the whole body, as the blood is going through, it is infusing with that energy. So it's like a energy powerhouse, right? So in a way, it is energy, but it's an energy powerhouse, just not the energy, right? It is enlightening everything.
Priya,
Yes,
did you
yes,
have a
Priya.
question?
I actually I feel like last time I jumped off and I said a lot of stuff that was off topic, but let me see if I can wrangle my thinking in here. Jason, I am with you as I read and I learn and I experience my own spirituality. I do think that the consciousness is more of a universal consciousness and not my consciousness. And so when I think of consciousness, I think of I have a hard time believing it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? I really have a hard time, because if it's a 1-to-1 ratio and our population is increasing, that doesn't work. And so, so the universal consciousness, the consciousness that belongs to Bhagwan, right? And if you think of that and work in some non-Newtonian physics and multiple planes and times and spaces, like that is easier for me to understand and believe. So I just wanted to say, like, I'm
No,
more
thank
on
you.
your
You are
side.
all saying the things which you all will be going to a topic, and so you will be learning that how to perceive the eternity at the three different levels. Okay, so one level is what you are seeing as soul, and then from the universal concept that's called Brahman, which is also seen as energy or the light, which Jason was also talking about, right? That's one first level of understanding. Higher level, the next level goes the universal soul, right? So we have a soul, there's a universal soul which permeates. So in our body, we have not just one soul, we have two souls, right? Our soul, and there's a universal aspect of the soul that's called, in Sanskrit, is called Paramatma. Okay, and this, so I'm just summarizing right now. As we are going, we'll talk a little bit more on this, right? Because the topic came, I'm just saying that. So Paramatma, and then the third, the universal self, right? So these are the three different aspects of understanding. Okay, and this, as we are learning this, we will be touching each of those topics, right? So we start from the lowest understanding, which people feel the most comfortable, that it is energy, right? So let's start from there. If you feel that that is something it's relatable, let's start from there. Okay, but all the three aspects will be covered. All right, so the next question: do animals and plants have a soul? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes.
And why do we think?
Because they have life.
Wonderful. They have life. They have life. And today I read an article very timely where they figured out that the plant, they shout, and when they shout, some of the insects, they can hear it. They can hear it, and that was very interesting. And now they are doing more. So yes, so 1960s, when this was discovered that the plants have life, right? Jagdish Chandra Bose, he got the Nobel Prize for that, for discovering that. But then after that, we didn't do means these are other breakthrough research which is happening, right? So when we read these things, we know that, oh, there is a soul. The soul is in a small insects, right? The same soul, right? The same soul. And as we learn more about the incarnation and thing, we will talk how the soul can pass from one type of body to other type of body also. Okay. The last question for today: are we giving importance to satisfy our real self, the soul, apart from taking care of the body? If not, how can we take care of our soul in our daily life? So basically, how do we take care of our body? And then what can we do to take care of our soul? That's the question in a way.
For me, I have a daily practice or almost daily practice of communing with myself. I'm an athlete, so my communion is waking up early before anyone else wakes up. And while I don't practice yoga, like my running is a form that a flow state. I think someone mentioned flow state last time. So that's how I commune with myself and my consciousness.
Very good. Very good. Wonderful. Any other thoughts, experiences?
Seeking being present, finding a way to turn off the monkey mind and that background noise that goes on in our daily life, so that we can really connect with our true self and our inner self, and be guided by our divine intuition.
Thank you. I personally do the mantra meditation. That's my way of connecting, right? Other things which I have found to be very useful is associating with the other like-minded people who are also have the spiritual bent, right? So, and that really allows me to learn and feel connected, right? So, and the third thing, actually, this, which is whenever I do something for other people, like some kind of a service which is meaningful to them, which is helpful, that gives me a lot. That's also my connection to spirituality, especially talking about the spiritual subjects. That gives me a lot of satisfaction too. Yeah, Angelina, grounding in nature. Yeah, nature is one of the other connection which I suppose most of us can relate, right? Especially Priya, when you wake up early in the morning and you go for a run, right? Being in the nature, having the nice air, listening to those beautiful birds chirping, right? Yes, yes. Thank you, Angelina.
Noticing the change of seasons because the birds
Yes.
start coming out or
Yeah,
disappearing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And those are all the things which can tell us. Like so, as you see, as we talked about how the yoga, the practice of yoga, is the first part of any yoga practice is which teaches is how to become aware of ourself. Right. That's the reason they do the practice. Or shake your feet or your toe your toe finger. So they talk in the basic 101 yoga 101 asana classes, right? It's all about becoming aware. As we become more aware of ourselves, we can start seeing a lot of connection with the nature, and a lot of realization will come within ourselves about this thing called soul. All right. So at this point of time, any other? So first, I'll ask any other question related with the topic today, and then I'll come to the any other question unrelated to the topic. Okay. So any question related to the topic today?
Well, I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with my mom's sweetheart about seeing someone in an altered mental state, whether it be through a mental illness or drugs or alcohol induced, when quite literally you see the light dim from their eyes, right? Their eyes go black. And what does that mean? And we talked about all of the meanings that could be, and the different associations, whether it be spiritual, religious, um, or something else. And I found it very interesting, his perception on some of this. I have a very religious idea about it and a spiritual idea about it. But I'm just curious if anyone else has experienced that, and how you handle that in those situations, right? Because it's a very scary thing to see someone's light dim, and how do you help them through that, or can you, right? And this is probably a bigger question than we have time for, but something that's burning on my mind.
It's a good question, though. What I've learned in spirituality is that um, the appearance of your body explains most times, I will say most times, the health of who you are, the soul. So the appearance, if you're seeing a light, there might be some struggle spiritually that this person is going through that, you know, at this point, I don't know the situation. Obviously, I don't know the situation, but then, if you're more inclined to spirituality, or if you're more inclined to, practicing things that could naturally get somebody to, become a little bit more um, active in, getting better practices, making better practices, then gradually, it won't be something that's immediate, obviously, but gradually there might be some internal realizations that that person could have that could inspire them to potentially make a change for themselves. So it's not something that is like I had an epiphany one day that, I want to continue to change my life. But I think that, associating with people who, and trying to help them in that way, kind of bring them outside and having them practice better practices, whether it's in health, interest, things like that, will gradually start, getting them to have those realizations for the next decision that they're going to make. So.
Yeah, I can comment in many different ways. We need to, of course, know my connection with that person, right? That is the most important thing. The most important thing, what I have heard, what I have learned is making sure the other person feels cared and loved. Because when you are in a difficult state, that's the like a child need a mom. Doesn't matter you give him money, toy. If the child in anxiety, what the child needs a mom or a dad, for that matter. Okay. Similarly, when we are in this difficult state, what we need is love and the care, right? That's the first thing. Um, Once that has been done and pacified, the person feels secure, then giving little tools how to help, right? If that person needs help and seek help would be useful, right? And then again, that depends, that's time how we answer depends on the other person's psychophysical nature, right? That person, what a state that person is. So we have to be aware of that conditioning, and then we can help answer that question. So it becomes little relative. It's hard to answer generically, but that's in the Bhagavad Gita. Um, Arjun, that's one of the character, who's the main character. Um, he's the biggest archer, and he was ready to fight, and everybody was scared of him. But then when he sees comes to the army, and there's a very big fight. It's called Mahabharat. It's like 60 million people are there fighting. It's like unheard of. Like there's such a big war, right? And then he gets bewildered and he says that I don't want to fight. And why he doesn't want to fight is not that he is scared. He's telling that if I kill these people, um, I I'll get a lot of sin, and then I'll cause the. He's giving all the very very solid reasons, philosophical reasons that if I kill the elders of the family, then the progeny which is born, they won't have anybody to sustain them, to teach them, right? So how can I kill? And so he goes into 4 or 5 different reasons, wonderful reasons, and then the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken in a way where he starts from the Krishna starts from the very beginning. First, he calms him down, right? He doesn't give him the suggestion, the knowledge when he's totally bewildered, right? First, he calms it down, and then later he start giving him the knowledge, and is all the conversation happening between him and Krishna all the time, and he keeps asking question, 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 and that's what the book Bhagavad Gita is. So why I brought this up, that this can be this is a interaction. There is no one size fit all. It will be an interaction between the individual who is going through the challenge and you and your relationship.
Thank you for humoring me.
All right, so I can take one question which is unrelated if anybody really wants and you want to really ask. And before I take the question, I really wanted to comment on Jason. Jason, you have such a wonderful face, such a big smile. I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images on my screen with the video on, and I gravitate towards you because I see the aura behind you, the red color aura and your big smile.
It's a pretty day. What can I say?
All right. Okay. So I'm ready for the question. If there are any questions. Apurvi had a question. No, is that answered? Or some other time?
Some other time. But
Some other time?
my question,
Oh,
yeah,
come on.
we don't have to answer it, but I think my question was more to do with like, does the soul choose the body?
Ah, yes. So we will be answering that into the topic. It's a very pertinent question. The law of karma, 6th topic. Okay. So 6th topic, we'll talk about that. Yes, your questions will be answered. So the next topic, the mind, a friend or a foe. Very interesting topic. Okay, so as we are progressing, each topic will be like building on the previous one and it's going to be going deeper and deeper. Very scientifically, we'll go up approach. By the end of 8th topic, we'll be ready for spiritual evolution. Okay, and of course, we have a series of topics for us to go and take deeper into our spirituality. Okay, so next week, the mind. Mind your mind. All right. Take care, folks.
Thanks,
Wonderful to see
everybody.
all of you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.